Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me again to this week's podcast. And I'm Sabine, and so happy to be here again this week, a little bit earlier. I'm recording on a Monday, unheard of, usually on Tuesdays. But yeah, I thought this is it's such a profound week of great change, and we'll get in early, I guess. And yeah, I hope you've been traveling nicely, navigating your own boat through this still Mercury retrograde. As we can see, Mercury is still retrograde in the sign of Leo and also for the rest of this week. And yeah, so another week of retrograde, but then comes next week, Monday the 11th, Mercury stationing to go direct again. So, what we are looking at this week, as I said, Mercury in Leo retrograding will retrograde back to 4 degrees of Leo. Also, then coming in opposition with Pluto or a very close opposition. But then I'll talk about that next week some more with talking about Mercury stationing direct and what we can expect there. And yes, the Sun is moving nicely through the fifth sign of the zodiacal wheel, the fifth sign in the zodiacal wheel, Leo, as well at 11 degrees. And so we have a lot of fire energy, as we can see also here with Saturn and Neptune in Aries retrograding. So there's quite a strong fire energy. And also right now, the moon, Lady Luna, she is in the sign of Sagittarius in a beautiful trine to the sun and Mercury retrograde. So there's quite a bit of a beautiful, yeah, a grand fire trine right now. As I'm looking at it, it's a bit of a wide orb, but it's happening. And I feel like maybe a lot of us have been feeling a sense of inspiration, something greater, a greater envisioning, something that's at the heart of the matter in and the fire within. We might be there's something burning that maybe we've put on a back burner, we haven't looked at it. And also this Mercury retrograde season in Leo is really that revisiting, readjusting, and preparing for when the energies are gaining momentum next week. So that's exciting times to prepare for what's to come, and we can already feel it. There is change, there is excitement, there is also inwards. We're looking very much inwards with Mercury retrograde, connecting the heart and the mind. So all our decision makings, it's yeah, we can't just rely on the mind, and we shouldn't never really do that because the mind is a great trickster, and it's also a conditioned way of being to focusing on the mind and finding a solution. It's more than solution oriented, and yeah, the mind operates in conditioned ways. It takes us to what happened in the past, and it's very narrow-minded, our mind, I feel. But if we can allow the Leo heart energy to come in, to truly tune into what makes my heart sing, what's my desire nature, we are really, yeah, I feel like we're really on on the journey, that a journey of the heart where we know that we are soul embodied and we're bringing all these parts together. And talking about bringing all the parts together, we also have, as I said last week, Mercury went retrograde. Chiron, the wounded healer planetoid, went retrograde last week and will be going retrograde until early January 2026. So again, it's a remembering of the parts that we've been feeling separate, severed. In some way, we feel we are different. There is a gap between spirit and matter, something that disconnects us, or that sense anyway, a sense of rejection, abandonment, early conditioning, upbringing. There is so much that's coming into this container that's opening up for greater healing, while Chiron is moving through the sign of Aries, retrograde until early January 2026 to really tap into our vulnerability, knowing that our strength lies in the vulnerability. It is in that sacred wounding that we can alchemically pouring gold into those cracks and shining through those wounds that that give us that sense of a greater compassion with ourselves, with others, a deep knowing about the suffering of this earthly experience, while of course it's the most beautiful and I feel also the most painful of experiences being here because of the core wounding of separation, because of all those conditionings and layers, and that also Wilhelm Reich referred to as body armors. And as I'm learning more about those body armors, it just makes it resonates so much with me, all those protective mechanisms that we've been creating from an early age to feel safer, to protect ourselves from pain, suffering, from being put down, belittled, experiencing greater abandonment. So if I'm the good girl, I might get more love. If I refrain from speaking my truth, I might be able to avoid conflict, and I'm loved more by my parents, by my friends, or whatever. So there's so much of those layers that could be up for all of us in some ways, that old wounds. um so also what we're looking at, so we're still in Leo season for the next almost 3 weeks, so powerful times. Yeah, less than 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks roughly. And then also Mercury will go direct next week on the 11th or 12th of August. So we're in for another week of Mercury retrograde, which is a great time to prepare for what's to come after the retrograde season, to maybe read certain things that often feel too complex, too much. It's always Mercury gives us that sense of that fine-tunement, where we have that capacity and that opening, because Mercury is the messenger god, taking souls into the underworld, opening up a greater sense of our subconscious and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our journey. So great time to declutter, to downsize, simplify, to really create a more zen kind of everyday living situation, which changes everything. And also how we approach little things is how we also respond and approach and intend to other bigger things in life. So Mercury is a divine teacher in that way, that he was also, as the messenger god, he brought people to Vesta, the goddess of sacred objects, and gathering people around the hearth, around the fire. And with Mercury and Leo, that's very aligned. The gathering around the fire, our inner fire, and the outer fire. What excites me, and also how we assert ourselves, going for what we want. So also this week we have Venus is in the sign of Cancer now until the 26th of August. And she's coming closer to Jupiter here. Again, I will be talking about that more next week, because the conjunction the coming together between Venus and Jupiter isn't until the 13th of August next week, which is one of the most benevolent times that we can experience. And so, especially in the sign of Cancer, because Jupiter is exalted in that sign of the sign of the moon, the receptivity. So there's a really loving, gentle, calm energy, which we might want to share with others, or we also could be very much drawn and into our inner world, and finding times of solitude with that conjunction, or where we feel like, yeah, a break might be nice now, a little holiday away, and to really nurture, being gentle, rejuvenate. And because Venus in Cancer is really reminding us of that self-nurture, of we don't need to push for anything. Whatever's organically aligned and falls into place is what is meant for us. There is no, yeah, it's really allowing a softness, a spirit of gentleness as Venus moves through the sign of Cancer until the 26th of August. And of course, Jupiter moving along in Cancer as well, being exalted here. So it's beautiful, expansive energy. Again, our inner world, our emotions, how we're feeling, our relationship patterns, everything is up for review in a way. And also great compassion, while at times things can be a bit blown out of proportion because Jupiter is so expansive. So we have to be careful maybe also to when we to own our stuff and not to project or put it out there or to get overwhelmed and drowning in our emotional world, while our feelings are just so crucial and to observe and it's also important to, yeah, to be responsible for how we move out into the world with how we are feeling and what that is based upon. Is it based upon fear? Is it based upon love? Is there, again, what sense of conditioning and how we can reflect upon that? And talking about deep feelings and emotions, this week on the 9th, which is Saturday, the 9th of August here, we are having a full moon in the sign of Aquarius. As the sun moves through Leo, the moon, Lady Luna, will be opposing Leo in the sign of Aquarius. So wherever that falls in your chart, it's actually the degree point is 16 degrees and 59 minutes. So wherever that falls in your chart, there is a charge, there is something that wants to rise up to consciousness. And again, we have the Leo Aquarius is a very spirited life force energy that is connecting us with our deep desires, with our creative sexual notions, ways of self-expression. It is open, it is unique. And Aquarius is that sign that reminds us of our individuated self, how unique we are among the mycelial network, and how we individually fit in into yeah, the overall um, sustainability and working together as society and as human beings. So also what I want to read out, because it's actually quite a strong, I feel, Aquarian week in some ways, because, and I'll talk about that shortly, we also have Mars coming into the sign of Libra, making into a Grand Trine, a Grand Air Trine, and that's huge. I'll talk about that after the full moon, which I could have spoken about before because Mars is moving into Libra before the full moon, but that's okay. So Aquarius in the tarot rules the card, the first card of the major arcana, the Fool, and also the card of the Star. The Star is the, what is it, the 17th card in the major arcana is the Star. So when we're looking at the Fool, I'm just reading out of my Celestial Tarot by Brian Clark. So the appearance of the Fool suggests movement, unexpected change, a fresh start, and a challenge lying ahead. On an oracular level, the Fool suggests a turning point on the spiritual path of individuation. And I really love that because I feel the energies are really, while Mercury is still retrograde and we are more introspected, there's this portal, a window opening of a greater envisioning. Something is coming to us this week, and this full moon is going to highlight this individuated self that we are and what we may be holding back because it's something unique. And there could be this push and pull. How will others receive me? And I'm doing something weird, unique, that's not out there. And so there could be a lot of that reflection, which is also very valuable, that we do tune in and also observing is there what fears might be coming up. In if I was to truly allow myself to come from my essence, in my uniqueness, and express myself in a way that makes my heart sing, then yeah, what would happen? How would I feel? And I guess a lot of us might be answering, whoa, that would feel so good because I feel like I've been holding myself back a lot. And but also that expression comes with a sense of that there can be anxiety around because we might be stepping out of a comfort zone. And Aquarius is that sign that pushes us out of the status quo, out of the comfort zone into a sort of a bit of a rebellious, revolutionary notion. And the card of the star is it symbolizes renewal, hope, bright prospects, inspiration, and spiritual guidance. The star is the light of the higher self, and it is Hebe, the heroic anima, who illuminates inner darkness and heralds the dawn of a hope-filled future. So that sounds so beautiful, and I feel it is really that guidance. I feel like that torch, the light that is shining towards a very hope-filled future, because Aquarius is future-oriented. While we want to be very present, there's also already we know, whoa, if I make if I tap into my individuated self, then on that journey, this is how my future will unfold in greater truth, honesty, and self-assertion. And also, like while we have Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Aries, of how we assert ourselves and being our own authority. So I feel, excuse me, wherever we look, there is a lot around that. Yeah, how can we be the authors of our own life, of our own story? How can we rewrite the story in a way that is uniquely us and without pressure, without feeling I have to be someone, or it's powerful beyond. And so also this week, before the full moon on the 9th, we have Mars moving into Libra on the 7th of August. And so and Mars, let's have a quick look. So 7th of August, Mars is moving into the sign of Libra and will be there till the 23rd of September, 22nd of September. So that's quite a big window here with Mars. Mars moves a lot slower than Venus and takes longer. So till 7th of August till roughly the 22nd, not roughly, exactly the 22nd of September, we are in for a big change of energies with Mars moving out of Virgo, which was also an energy that's very discerning. Choose wisely, feel into it. Gut feeling and intuition. So Mars moving into the sign of Libra, where actually Mars is the furthest away in the sign of Libra, where Mars is comfortable, because Mars loves being in the sign of Aries, in the sign of the warrior, which is opposite Libra, where Mars is the warrior god. There is this expression of the fiery red energy of Mars. So now in the sign of Libra, and for the next weeks to come, so 7th of August till the 23rd of 22nd of September, we are up for about 6 weeks, 6.5 weeks of Mars in the relationship sign of Libra. Mars, how we assert ourselves, our will. The beauty of Mars in Libra is that we are much more aware of other people. It's a lot less selfish Mars. It's really considering that our actions have consequences, considering how others might be feeling if I do this, or there is great compassion, there is teamwork oriented, there is an where action comes through harmony and balance, working as a team, creating win-win situations. Mars instinctively likes to compete. Here it's a lot less competitive. So that's really nice. It's soft. It's because Mars is in a Venus ruled sign. Venus rules Libra. And so there is a balancing act between giving and receiving, between action versus beingness. So it's a beautiful balance balance. Saying that, so as soon as Mars comes into Libra, firstly, also the negative side of Mars in Libra is how do we channel our aggressive nature? And when I say aggressive, I don't mean like that we want to go and fight or some, it's more like our basic nature to go for what we want. And so that could be challenging because Mars in Libra is not very strong in going for what we want. It is because it could also at times can be self-sacrificial in a way, like considering others too much, being too pulled back into what society thinks, what others think. What there is also Mars in Libra can be challenged to express anger, resentment, frustration healthily. So often people with Mars in Libra have a tendency to withhold how they truly feel. Then there is an accumulation of energies. It's going to get contained. There is almost like an implosion. And that's where it gets dangerous, because if we can't find a healthy outlet for our important feelings of what people call negative feelings, which is bullshit because it's all valued and all as important, happiness and sadness, all the same thing. We need to experience anger, frustration, and move it through our system in healthy ways. And Mars in Libra can have a problem with that because it's sort of there's a certain stagnancy here because it's too out of focus, it's too much, oh, I don't want to upset anyone. And if I do this, and it's too, and there then develops at times passive aggressive. So sometimes Libra has that negative quality of becoming passive aggressive because it doesn't naturally go for what it wants. So it holds back, and then, but then inside, we're building up like it's, fuck, if I'm not going for what I want, if I'm not asserting myself here, then this doesn't feel healthy inside. I might hold it in my stomach and feel yucky, feel bloated, constipated. I might hold it in my chest, that anxious anxiety that is just sitting there because I don't feel I can speak up in this situation, or I don't feel worthy even going for what I want, or if the whole group doesn't agree, can I move along on my own with that idea? So there's a lot of that because also Mars will be immediately coming into opposition with Saturn, which Saturn is the planet that says, no, you can't. And so I feel like the time between the 7th of August and 22nd of September is really important to observe what is right for me now with who I am now. And can I lovingly assert myself even when others don't agree? So that can be the challenge here. And saying that, also this Mars is immediately creating a beautiful grand Earth trine, air trine, air, the element of air with Uranus in Gemini, Pluto in Aquarius, and Mars in Libra. Huge energies that are coming through. So there is great benevolence coming to us, and it's starting around the time, the 7th, 8th, 9th of August into next week. There can be, with Aquarius, also sudden opportunities, things coming our way. Air can be fresh ideas, new vistas, epiphanies, insights that we want to move forward. And again, the challenge is that maybe our ideas are somewhat unique. Maybe our ideas or sharings are like a not fitting in with the status quo. So let's observe what wants to come up. Can I be comfortable sitting with the discomfort? And yes, it's really important to consider people around us. Also, I love the word consider it sidereal, the stars, with stars. Maybe we can roll, we can flow with the starry imprint, with the cosmic energies that are guiding us, especially. I'm really excited, excuse me, because we have Uranus in the mix, which is abrupt, sudden changes, epiphanies, lightning strikes. Uranus is spirit, Pluto, Lord of the Underworld, taking us onto a transformational journey in the Uranian ruled sign of Aquarius. So again, what I just read out, the Fool and the Star are playing together as a unique self-expression. And Mars, our will, is coming in, considering other people, is more relationship oriented, while also developing more strength in following what's right for us. And this is also, I feel, when we tap into our own truth, this is where our tribe comes in more and more, supporting us, applauding us, and how, yeah, how great that you're doing this and you're working on a greater truth for yourself. And I feel with so much Aquarian energy, Aquarius is very social. It brings our kindred spirits and people. So there could be new developments with groups, with new ways of future oriented visioning, more social. The air signs are very social, more connecting online with real people in the real world. Because yeah, Gemini wants to communicate and travel. We might be going to places, short distance travel or even long distance. We might bring new connections in our world that are on the other side of the world. Who knows? But there's also then the benevolence of the. It's also interesting that the referred in astrology, the benevolent planets are Venus and Jupiter, which are coming together next week on the 13th at 13 degrees, 14 degrees of Cancer, and very benevolent. And then also in astrology referred to as the malefics are Mars and Saturn being in opposition. So while I don't like the labeling of especially the malefics, because I don't think there's anything bad about it. There's never anything bad. Everything is an opportunity for us to grow. And this opportunity where we are is to develop a stronger sense of self, a sense of self that does not come from blaming and shaming and um yeah and holding yeah back or whatever. It's really tapping into who am I now, how do I want to show up, and how far have I come. I applaud myself in the sign of Leo. It is about applauding ourselves, being the center stage in our own theatrical world, being on stage there. And of course then our kindred spirits will also applaud us for for our amazingness and the beauty in that we show up. And there is a lot of beauty coming our way with Venus and Jupiter, very, very divine and gentle and soft. And I feel it's a good mix of energies that are gentle and soft, and we have a lot of fire that wants to go for what it wants, it wants to strike out, but it's also I feel it's bringing more balance into our inner and outer world and creating a beautiful pulsation of life itself as we are connecting with our inner essence, fueled, moving back and forth with the cosmic life energy. All right, I think I'm rambling from here on. So thanks so much for listening. So a powerful week ahead here. And let me know how you're navigating, how you're feeling, and how these energies work deeply within you. So much love. Thanks so much for listening. And bye for now. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.